If you're getting ready to sell your house, the first instinct most homeowners have is, let me fix everything before I put it on the market. Sounds logical, right? You want your home to look great, you don't want buyers to walk in and start picking things apart, and above all else, you want top dollar. But what if I told you that fixing them won't get you top dollar? Because if you fix the wrong things, it can cost you thousands of dollars that you just don't need to spend. So in this video, I'm definitely going to show you and save you those thousands of dollars by telling you the 10 things I would not fix before putting your house on the market. And stick around for the very bad, no good, terrible idea, the one thing I would never do in advance of selling my home. So the reason not to fix them is because you won't make back what you spend, or even close to it. What we're talking about is ROI, or return on investment, and how it affects the sale price. So let's go. Number one, at the top of the list, don't do a kitchen remodel. Now, I don't have to tell you that kitchens are wildly expensive and an out-of-pocket cost, cabinets, countertops, appliances, labor. Don't get me wrong, we know that kitchens do matter quite a bit to buyers. But a full remodel right before selling is not a smart financial move for the seller because the ROI on a brand new kitchen is only 50 to 60%. So if you spend $40,000 redoing a kitchen, you might add $20,000 to the sale price, but you're out that other $20,000. Also, what if you make the wrong choices and it doesn't appeal to some buyers? They don't want your dream kitchen, they want their dream kitchen. So you might love white cabinets and quartz counters, but the buyers want, maybe they want wood tones and granite. And a lot of the time, buyers walk in thinking, well, we'll probably redo the kitchen eventually anyway. So instead of remodeling, focus on a facelift. Fix broken cabinet doors, maybe replace outdated hardware, make sure all the appliances work, and do a deep clean. Number two, same thing goes for over-upgrading bathrooms, which also have a low ROI of 50 to 60%. It's true that bathrooms also sell homes, but again, over-upgrading is the problem. If you spend $15,000 to renovate, you might only increase your sale price by $7,500 and be out the other $7,500. Instead of gutting a bathroom, update lighting and mirrors, maybe replace the faucet with something cool and modern, recaulk the tub and sink, and make it feel bright and clean. Number three, the roof. Depending on the material you use, shingle, tile, metal, the ROI on a new roof is as low as 50% and not higher than 70% if you pay for an expensive material. So you can lose a ton of money there if you invest in a new roof and it doesn't come back to you in a higher sale price. So the question is, do you need to replace it? Buyers expect a roof to be structurally sound, leak-free, and not an eyesore, but what if it's just old? Now it's true that a really old roof that's what they call past its useful life can make it difficult for the buyer to get homeowners insurance. In that case, you can negotiate a credit at closing, meaning you give a bit of the proceeds back for maybe a portion of what it would have cost you to replace it. But you don't want to come out of pocket for 100% replacement and go through the pain of doing the work just to sell. If the buyer asks for a new roof, and that's a big if, they get to choose the materials they like and do it themselves in the style they want. So everyone's happy. Number four, don't replace an old furnace or boiler if it's in working order. So furnaces and boilers have very long life cycles. And unlike a failing or old roof, just because a furnace is old, that doesn't mean you can't get homeowners insurance on it. If it works, it works. But most importantly, the buyer might not even ask for a new furnace or boiler after the inspection. I can't tell you, I've done 1,000 deals where the buyer did not request a new one because the inspector said it was working well. On the other hand, if it's the only thing a buyer is asking for after an inspection is done, and that's the only thing standing between you and the deal falling apart, maybe you do it or offer a partial credit. You might be quite pleased and relieved that that's the only item that they're asking for. Number five, don't replace windows. Now, windows are also wildly expensive and it's a big job to do, but they're also one of the lowest return on investment upgrades before you sell. So I wouldn't replace them unless they're broken, leaking, or unsafe. And window styles are a really personal thing. Plus, a lot of buyers like to do it themselves using rebates or tax credits and in their own preferred styles. So if your windows open and close and aren't letting water in, you're usually better off leaving them as is. Number six, don't replace flooring throughout the home. Flooring is another very high ticket expense. If your floors are damaged, if you have ripped carpet, missing tiles, unsafe condition, that's one thing. But replacing all the flooring just because it's dated, that's not usually necessary because buyers often plan to replace floorings anyway to match their style, their furniture, or allergies. So you could spend thousands on new carpet or luxury vinyl only to hear the buyers say, we're going to rip this out. Instead, clean carpets professionally, refinish hard wood if they're in rough shape, and replace flooring only where it's damaged or stained. Good condition matters more than brand new. Number 7, anything based on the feeling that you don't like it. That's not a selling strategy, that's emotion. Buyers aren't you. Maybe the buyer actually loves the antique tile around your fireplace or the vintage wallpaper in the guest room. Even if they don't love it, they might overlook it or want to replace it with their own taste anyway. So number 8, don't improve beyond the neighborhood ceiling, meaning one of the biggest mistakes sellers make before selling is upgrading a home beyond what the neighborhood supports. So if surrounding homes are selling for a certain range, pouring money into certain upgrades will never push your value beyond that ceiling. Buyers are comparing your home to others nearby. They don't pay extra just because you spent extra. So you want to align your home with the market, not above it. Number 9, don't fix things just because the buyer might ask. Now this is a mindset shift. Some sellers start repairing things out of fear. What if a buyer asks about this? What if this comes up in the inspection? Well, what if they don't? Here's the truth. Inspections are negotiations, and prefixing everything removes something very important, your leverage. Many items can be negotiated, credited, or left alone. I've seen buyers barter or waive a repair request, for example, if the seller left the pool table or the jungle gym or a couch or bar stools. Sometimes it's better to wait and see what the buyer cares about instead of guessing wrong. Number 10, okay, so here's the really bad idea and the thing that I would never do before selling my home. And it might seem a little controversial, but here it is. You may have gotten advice to hire an inspector to do a complete inspection on your home before you sell. I personally think this is a really bad idea. First, every inspection turns up at least some repair issues that the seller didn't even know existed. You're going to learn about every flaw in your home, and now you're stressed out about what to fix. But more importantly, things now become legal. If you know in advance of any material defect with your home, you and your agent are ethically required to disclose it to the buyer or any buyer. So now you have to tell the buyer about all these flaws that might not even come up when they do their own inspection. And worse, if something happens with one of those items long after closing and they can show that you knew about them, you are liable and they can sue you. So my advice, before you put your home on the market, fix what you already know is broken, clean what's dirty, neutralize what's distracting, and let the buyer do their own inspection. So thanks for listening, and please do hit subscribe for lots more real estate advice to come, and I will see you next time.